Yo, it's here for Nananum TV. I share for me, Mama was on Kokura at the Bayan Nananum TV. So, any news updates on Kokura at the Mamo. Na yan check we Bob Ransom na mum answer Bob room na meka say me din am jeso ene na ya wasare na me sro bebre say na ndeli ka wo hwe na say wota hwe na say unya subscribe bomoden a wada o na subscribe na Nananum TV o subscribe bomoden a oni do an brasi share my na comment si na be ya hwe say be adwuma na ye so oni ana say e bia mfumso lu o wo de ye hu comment was comment section na say na ye be hwe na e di hu dwuma am e Bob Ransom no mu dia na ye gbora e Parliament in Ekwana, where a year MP IFN honorable a year Haruna Iddrisu. I got honorable Haruna Iddrisu, honorable Haruna Iddrisu a year. Mrasobejon at the Magana for more Tamale Central. Tamale Central, on once a year dom Kumana road bar the daily or Mrasobejefi and a minority leader or parliament. Gana Mrasobejefi on a year or Mobile Denny. The honorable a year Haruna Iddrisu and Munamfui. Obi a wabin wo eye Ghana amanyo som ye papa pa otim so onim di na mra so be defie so watena wache ye papa pa otim se eye evi abanda dana pese na brana Ghana mampinda da John Dramani Mahama eye edi abenya se Ghana mampin no ye osoafo a ohwe eye akontuo en bibi sa na mum ministry ankasa nga wada ma Germany kakra na mum obi a like odimu atintima ya KNDC a National Democratic Congress amanyo ku na odimu tintima ye pa ono so eni de ewo mfam na koba ni se ananu ya mampani na adanko Akufo Addo de ensense bi betu dwa se economy na ye de ni ade no ana ye onimonyamfo Haruna Iddrisu wada betu dwa se mampani Akufo Addo odim kuku Ghana fo nyina ni efi se oba no nsem bi o kan se ye tisika so komoden Omai no hiamai. Oba mati petrol so, mati diesel so. Nkola be ko school free. School dey why ni free mom. Ntu aso su ko why no kwade na mom. Ya wutia no a chinse na etu a school fees. We nyina ka ga na ye on munyafo Haruna Iddrisu. Ade betu twa se mampani. Anam kwesi da oba sa ko ne Ghana fo be kasa no. Ka ono onji ntu se ono mampani odi nkuku. Ohun se ade na ye den. Aburo no so. Ghana fo nyina yin ne mbo no. Na mom Apotoka say he's being arrogant. He failed to accept responsibilities that he has failed the country. And Timothy Yanchahu, Manko Parliament, Masobejefi, Nanko the honorable Haruna Iddrisu the Tuja. Yababa Mejo was one you because I have another TV, the media Mejo and an answer. But I was a
as noted by us in the minority group, the president failed to accept responsibility that he is responsible for the sorry state of the Ghanaian economy, and he is responsible for the wrench economy, which has consequences on livelihoods. Poverty has exacerbated, cost of living have gone high, cost of doing business high, many businesses are folding up, some industries are now rerouting their investment into neighboring Ivory Coast and other countries because Ghana is no longer the investment haven as it should be. You heard the president state categorical that borrowing the highest in the last 50 years. What he failed to add and what he should have added is that I borrowed more than any other head of state and president in the last 50 years. And those of you who listened to Genevieve of the IMF, you recall a few months ago when the IMF and World Bank, particularly led by its managing director, was again categorical that they didn't see anything wrong with government policy. We now state that there's everything wrong with Nana Addo Dankwa's government and his economic management team policy on borrowing. Borrowing is a policy. You decide to borrow, and you decide how much to borrow and where to direct the borrowing as an investment. So if you now borrow to the level of debt distress, to the level of unsustainable debt, to the level that you are now talking about ratio of 105% of GDP as your debt level, and then he, Nana Addo Dankwa, the President of the Republic, added that he hopes that Ghana's debt to GDP will improve to 55% of GDP by 2028. We ask the question, where will he be? Where will he be? Even though we are not convinced that he can even manage this with any superior debt strategy, as was done by John Dramani Mahama and the NDC. You all recall his State of the Nation address, the first of his in 2017. He said 120 billion was colossal. So to mark his words, 450 billion borrowing is not colossal. He also said that, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the media, mark my words here, President Nana Addo Dankwa, in his attempt to rebut President John Dramani Mahama and our ranking member, the Honorable Akufo Addo, on debt and its management and sustainability, dismissed the argument of a haircut. He was categorical that there will be no haircut. We are assuring the people of Ghana, we are assuring investors, people with savings, people with investment in instruments, that there will be a barber of a sort. Probably that barber will be Scampi Dede Barber. There will be a barber of a sort, but that barber will be Scampi Dede of a sort barber. Whether it affects domestic investment or domestic instrument, we are giving you only 14 days from today. You will hear from them publicly effort to restructure our unsustainable debt. And those efforts will necessarily include a Scampi Dede Barber for many persons who have investment and savings in some instrument.
100 Ghanaians, 1,200 Ghanaians to be direct employment. I think so. A better create 10,000 jobs indirectly, 10,000 jobs indirectly, and a big create. Okamboma, we are talking about getting to close to 25,000 jobs, and as a result of iron and steel industrial plant here ababi PMO ewo Ghana hai ebabe kreti na edisika puduo aba Ghana hanum yipa na etiefo enhye nso se obe PM ewo Ghana hanum a baby a iron deposit ewo pa the western region of Ghana in the Opon Mensi village no ho and iron ore deposit no enkuye pa dosu yipa estimated say Ghana has an iron ore deposit of 6 billion metric tons. 6 billion metric tons of iron ore and anina a good western region kura friend or Paul Mensi honum as a CD a joint partnership between a company be a free amanone and local company and Akufo Addo Emma Ghana Steel Corporation in their operations and in the agreement they should make sure say any solely foreign entity enable operate a business industrial plant name it is going to be a collaboration from a international company no and having so a local company said ye or more predominant workers no ebabe Ghana for na enkoye amanone for in such a manner no just say yentememu for yenso ye babe benefit na agreement ne course no penifo ni di ensem bi etutu ja ebekin kan bi ama atiefo etimi enyamuntie. Now giving details of the collaboration between GISDEC and the foreign investment and technical partner CISD, Mr. Kwabena Bonsu-Fojo hinted at the efforts of GISDEC over the last 2 years to ensure that this partnership and investment becomes a reality to help transform and further promote the steel industry in Ghana. He further stated that the government's strict directives to include local content in collaborations with foreign investors will be strictly adhered to. Hence, investors will deal directly with locals during the setup of the industry plant to help boost the economy and create more jobs. According to the CEO, within 2 years, the steel industry plant should be complete and operationalized to help boost the industry. Internet say Ghana iron ore reserve over 6 billion as a yenya company if you are leasing with a local company say baby developer so steel plant on BBC me sure say they are going to contact Canadian company Japan in this development. So into an estimated amount of $1 billion a baby raw economy no more. That means 2023 going into 2024, Ghana is going to see massive improvement. Go ahead abayi and she share any pa dear guagwemwa. A few in corner we no nice in 2023 2024 ebe wo abeswa bama Ghana no sika any yedie kese pa ewo omayimu na chairman of AUIC Energy foreign company na omo eba be lazy with a local company no also kasai. Now we said the project will be implemented in 3 phases. And by the completion of the 3rd phase, the project will become a fully integrated iron and steel project. I'll be taking advantage of the entire iron mining value chain. Now, expressing a satisfaction in the negotiations and the cooperation course between Ghana for any omonko for one man. Now, he further described Ghana as a conducive place to invest in such a nationally significant project. They say, "Oba Africa hanoma amana man bebre and more oil or say iron and steel reserves. You be say Guinea say is there in abundance, but because of unstable atmosphere and our things on our economy in somewhere into 2 years, into the moment PM our Ghana hanum coupled with the fact say they have seen said the president of the land Akufo Addo Failed industrialization agenda I done come as you see where industries are now paying so our operationalize here. It is unprecedented, never in the history of Ghana. And you say within 5 years to 6 years. Industries over 100 ya operationalizing na nyina juma na enyumrede they have abetuja and say Ghana is going to benefit from this 1 billion iron and steel industry plant here na yebesi no ewo tema close to the harbor said the beya ya ne say omom here bi no yebetimi ahyepodi akomo that means Ghana is going to export more of these steel components and iron components, which is also going to generate a foreign exchange in dollars tinina eba be brom ewo oman economy no na is scano kwa ene kosoro ewo oman Ghana mo coupled with e-levy and internal revenue generation platforms are aban create intino Ghana and the atadwe yate asempane inyina yemfa empire bontage say by the end of 2023 there na sa 1 billion steel factory operationalizing na create over 25,000 jobs at the ama yentime before mama yenko nsemfufuro.
Ghana currently has an iron ore deposit in commercial quantities. According to the Ghana Geological Survey Authority, deposits discovered are at Akokoroa in the Oti region and are of the highest grade. This pushed government to look for a private investor. The Ghana Integrated Iron and Steel Development Corporation secured a $1 billion iron and steel industrial plant to be set up by some European partners. The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Integrated Iron and Steel Development Corporation gave a scope of the steel industrial plant.
There's a team that has come from Europe called CISD Intercon, and they're here to set up an integrated iron and steel industrial plant. And this plant, when set up, it's going to create a lot of jobs and bring in revenue for the country. You're looking at a 3-phase approach. The first phase will be to set up an 800,000 ton per annum plant, which we upgraded in a couple of years to 1.5 million tons. And then the third phase will be working backwards to do mining processing